The market's uncertain, revenue's tight, and hiring on hold. That's why results-driven companies are using Upwork to keep work moving. Go to Upwork.com today and start hiring proven freelance talent fast. No bulky overhead. No rigid long-term contracts. Just the right expert right when you need them. Work smarter and faster with Upwork. Go to Upwork.com now and find your freelance expert. That's UPWORK.com. Post a job for free and get started today.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host. And on today's episode, we are going to talk EV news. You know what? At this point, I'm just going to call this a twice a week podcast, but I'm not giving any specific days. It's so hard to hit the days that I'm supposed to right now. So you're just going to get 2 episodes a week. When you get those episodes, probably will be around Tuesday or Friday, but they may not be. So that's just how I got to do it until things slow down. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our EV news. The 2025 Kia EV6 and the 2026 Kia EV9 are getting plug and charge capabilities. So this means that they will be able to roll up to a Tesla or Electrify America charging station, plug in, and through the Kia Connect or Kia Charge Pass, it will automatically just magically charge your car and charge your credit card or debit card at the same time, which is super convenient. And I've not ever charged at an Electrify America station, but this seems like it would just be heaven because I have charged it or tried to charge at other third-party EV charging stations, and it's always a headache. It's always it never goes easy, as from my experience. Other than Tesla's, because I have a Tesla, is pretty seamless. So hopefully this will be seamless if you have a 2025 EV6 or a 2026 EV9. If you live in the UK and you want to take a test drive, or if you want to test drive a Hyundai Kona for 24 hours, then they've got a new program and they're calling it the 24-hour rest drive. Not test drive, but rest drive. You might think that's a dumb name, and you are correct. You don't even have to think it. You can know it's a dumb name. Anyway, Hyundai Motor Group conducted the study and found that 73% of parents take their child for a ride to help them fall asleep. They actually spent money on this. I literally could have told you that this is a thing that parents do to sometimes help their children fall asleep, to soothe them, to help them rest, and to give the parents a little peace and quiet. Parents spend on average about 9 hours a month trying to get their children to sleep just by driving them around. And Hyundai said parents did have some frustrations when it came to driving around. 42% of those frustrations came from traffic, 41% came from engine noise, and 31% came from having to stop for gas. I don't know that electric vehicle is going to help you on too many of those things, but I guess you won't have engine noise, but you'll have all the noise around the car, and stopping for gas, you might have to stop to charge. Anyway, 65% of parents said one thing that did help their child fall asleep was a smooth ride. This seems like an ad, you know. This was a very specific question that was asked, I think. Anyway, if you would like to take a rest drive, then head to your Hyundai dealer in the UK, and they can help you out. If you're not in the UK, you're out of luck. You can take your own rest drive with your own car. The first U.S. grid-scale sodium-ion battery has been deployed. This is a 3.5 megawatt-hour battery. It was designed and manufactured by Peak Energy and deployed in Watkins, Colorado. This is the first deployment. It's a test. One of the big advantages of sodium-ion batteries is they perform well in hot or cold weather, and they don't require an auxiliary cooling system. Now, I don't know if that's all the time, but in general, they don't require an auxiliary cooling system. Sodium-ion batteries are also cheaper and easier to maintain. There's, like I said, no active cooling, less moving parts. You're looking at less battery degradation over a 20-year lifespan, all of which make them particularly useful in grid-scale deployments. On top of all of that, soda ash is very abundant, particularly here in the U.S. Much, if not all, of the supply chain needed for a sodium-ion battery can be sourced from the U.S. or our allies. Allies? That's how you say that word. Anyway, if all goes well, we should see the Peak Energy sodium-ion battery launch for commercial use sometime in 2027.
The market's uncertain, revenue's tight, and hiring on hold. That's why results-driven companies are using Upwork to keep work moving. Go to Upwork.com today and start hiring proven freelance talent fast. No bulky overhead. No rigid long-term contracts. Just the right expert right when you need them. Work smarter and faster with Upwork. Go to Upwork.com now and find your freelance expert. That's UPWORK.com. Post a job for free and get started today.
You buy a pair of socks, that's 2 socks. You buy a pair of Bombas socks, that's 4 socks. Because one purchased is one donated. Socks are the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. So when you buy a pair of super comfortable Bombas socks, you're also donating a pair. Bombas customers have powered over 150 million donations. So Bombas would like to thank you 150 million times. But we only have like 30 seconds. Go to bombas.com and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO at checkout.
Change isn't coming. It's already here. Commerce is going digital, and tax complexity is multiplying. Tax rules evolve, rates shift, data floods in. Vertex connects it all. A global tax compliance platform powered by tax-ready data and intelligent systems. Smarter tech, continuous tax compliance, built-in confidence. Learn more at vertexinc.com.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
All right. That's all for our EV news. Let's go ahead and jump into some Tesla news here. In September, registrations for the Model Y in Sweden increased, not decreased, but increased 492% compared to August of 2025. Same year. So that's a pretty good increase. Year over year, Tesla is still down, but a 492% increase is definitely a step in the right direction. Used Tesla sales in Sweden are also up as well. I put this article in here because last week I talked about how sales of Teslas are down in the UK, or not the UK, in the EU, and they are. But, you know, we should also point out the bright spots, and this is one of them. On September 23rd at 7 p.m., Boulder City and Henderson fire departments were dispatched to reports of a fire at the Townsite Solar and Storage Facility in Boulder, City, Nevada, excuse me. Boulder City is about 30 minutes southeast of Las Vegas. It's pretty close to the Arizona-Nevada border. So that would be a pretty decent response time for Henderson. I don't know how far out Henderson Fire Department goes, but I would imagine it was at least 10 minutes, if not a little bit more. we all know that lithium fires are difficult to put out. So when these crews arrived on scene, they set up to do what we call like protect exposures or just defensive operations. Basically, we're going to let the thing that's on fire burn in this case, and then we're going to make sure that everything around it doesn't burn. And the megapacks in this solar farm in the storage area, they're all set up in a grid, right? So they just put a bunch of water on the other megapacks and waited for this one to burn out. Initially, they did have hand lines on this, or it looked like it was hand lines. They could have used like a portable monitor or something like that, but we don't need to go into what that is. But it looked like they were using hand lines initially, but at some point they did put up a ladder, and like I said, they were hosing down all of the other megapacks to make sure that they didn't catch on fire while letting the megapack that was on fire burn out. Now, to add a little insult to injury, around midnight, a second megapack caught on fire, and so that probably added quite a bit to their night in terms of time. And when you're already tired and it's hot outside, that sucks. And then when a second one lights up, it just sucks even more. So, but it looks like the crews did a good job containing it to 2. There's only been a few megapack fires, so I don't think we should look into this too terribly much. I think that for the most part, that this is, this is interesting and we should learn from it for sure. But I don't think this is anything we should panic about or anything like that. And the crews on scene looks like they did a really good job at getting the fire out. Okay, so this is our final story of the episode. This one is a little bit longer, though. I went into some detail here. Justin Demare, who's also known as Bearded Tesla Guy on the social medias, and a friend of his, which I could only find one name of Josh. I don't know Josh's last name, but they decided to drive a 2025 Model Y from San Diego to Jacksonville, Florida, which would finally fulfill Elon's 2016 prophecy of full self-driving, coast to coast without any interventions. That was in 2016. Elon said it would happen in 2017. We are currently in 2025. We have not seen that yet. Anyway, the pair planned on filming the entire trip and then uploading it to Bearded Tesla Guy's YouTube page. Unfortunately, about 60 miles into the trip, while traveling on a bridge, they spotted something in the road. Initially, they thought it was roadkill. You'll hear them. I'm going to play a clip, so you'll hear them discuss that. So let's go ahead and go to the clip.
Oh, we got a something. Yeah, we sure do. All right, looks like roadkill. No, it's not. Oh, that is not roadkill. Shot. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. The car is just rolling. It's just. We have to pull over. Yeah. We're okay. We're okay. We're okay. We're okay. Pull over on this asphalt section here. You okay? We're okay. Over here, we have power. Okay. I need to. Some space. Yep. There, here we go. Pull off here. Nothing's dragging. That's a good sign. Do you have a tire pressure light? No. No. Wow, we have traction control and yeah, that's because you left the ground.
Okay, so what you see in the video is that they spot the item in the road pretty early on. The driver has his hands poised over the steering wheel to take over. It wasn't until it was way too late for them to realize that it wasn't roadkill to make any sort of evasive maneuver. Like they were pretty much on it at that point in time. So there wasn't much that they could do about it, unfortunately. So they were able to safely pull over to the side of the road. Because like I said, they were on a bridge, so it wasn't like they could immediately pull over on the bridge, but they were able to get off the bridge and then safely pull over to the side of the road, which is good. One of them went back and actually grabbed the item out of the road, and it was just this big steel piece. He called it a piece of like a steel girder. I don't know if it was a piece of a girder. It didn't look like that to me, but it's not to say that I've seen every sort of type of girder out there. But this was definitely a heavy-duty piece of steel. It was kind of like lozenge shaped, so it was bigger in the middle, and then it just kind of narrowed down as you got to each end. So thinner on the ends, thicker in the middle. And based on the video, it looks like they hit it like more on the passenger side, not so much on the driver's side. It wasn't like dead even. It was a little more onto the passenger side. And it looked like it raised the tire of, and you hear him remark about you left the ground. It looks like they raised that right tire off the ground, and then it came down hard. Oh, and another piece of this is they were traveling at about 75 miles an hour at the time. So scary stuff. There was quite a bit of damage. They were able to make it to Tucson, Arizona, where they were able to take it into a Tesla store or a Tesla service center to, kind of get things assessed and fix what they could fix. They did stop at some point at a muffler shop because there was a broken sway bar bracket, and they were able to kind of piece that back together so that they could get back on the road and make it to Tucson. Unfortunately, the car would not take a charge at the supercharger, but it would do level 2 charging. I can't imagine how stressful this was for those two, just because, one, it's a 2025 Model Y. It's a new car. You just damaged your new car. So that sucks right there. And then the second part of this is with the damaged sway bar, and it won't take won't charge at a supercharger. Like that just adds a whole bunch of different levels of stress and the warnings and all that stuff. At one point, I think they had a warning light that the front electric motor was no longer working. Anyway, they were able to limp the car into the Tucson Tesla service center, which is harder than you think. The Tucson Tesla service center, it's hard to say. I would imagine that they had a tremendous sense of relief being able to get there, right, and be safe, and the car actually made it the whole way, because that would have been a very expensive tow. And a matter of fact, they made a reference to that it would have been very expensive. But then once you get there and that relief washes over you, then there's a whole second part of that of, oh no, how much am I going to have to pay for this? So the Tesla service center went through, and I might not be getting all of the things that were damaged, but the suspension was damaged. A bunch of cosmetic pieces were damaged. That sway bar bracket was sheared off. The sway bar damaged it bounced up and damaged the high voltage battery, apparently. Anyway, it was $22,000 in damage total. The battery pack was between $17,000 and $18,000 of that damage. So, bearded Tesla guy, he, I guess, lives in Jacksonville, Florida. He left the car in Tucson. The Tesla service center ordered him a new high voltage battery, and he flew back home. And 3 days later, he got a phone call that the new battery pack was in and had been installed, which is really super impressive from Tesla, that you could get it done that fast. One of the things, though, is one of the service techs was kind of digging into the battery logs, and he found that the battery pack had he found a cell imbalance in the battery pack. And a cell imbalance happens when individual cells in the pack no longer perform evenly. It can be caused by manufacturing differences. It can be caused by uneven charging and discharging, or different temperature variations, or natural aging. Some of the impacts of a cell imbalance are it lowers the usability capacity of the battery. So it's basically limited by its weakest cells. It speeds up battery wear and shortens battery life. It creates safety risks like overheating or thermal runaway. It reduces efficiency due to uneven voltages, and then it leads to inaccurate state of charge readings, which could ultimately end up in you running out of battery thinking you have, 25% left or whatever. And you didn't have 25% left. So that's not good either. The good news is because of this cell imbalance, the Tesla tech said, you know what, if I dig into these logs even further and even further back, I can see that this was going on before the impact. So the impact didn't help the situation and may have sped it along a little bit, but ultimately there was something going on before the impact happened. And because of that, Tesla actually warranted the battery because because the history of the cell imbalance was there, which is super cool because the Tesla tech could have just looked at the initial test and said, well, the cell imbalance was caused by the impact, bada bing, bada boom, we're not going to cover it. But they actually looked back into the logs, which I think is pretty awesome of them to do because they did this guy a solid for sure. According to the video one of the videos that he released, he wasn't going to have them do he wasn't repairing all of the other damage. He was going to go ahead and do some of that on his own. I think he was planning on repairing the sway bar bracket himself. Anyway, he has like 6 or 8 of these videos that he broke down into chunks of the whole ordeal. And one of the things that I really want to commend him on is being so transparent through this. Like, obviously, he set out to prove that you could drive from coast to coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast without an intervention. And, technically, he did not intervene when full self-driving ran over that steel piece, but he did afterwards. So I commend him for being so transparent. So like they definitely had an aim and they failed about 60 miles in, but they were transparent about it. And I respect them for that. I think that was really cool. And I genuinely hope that all of the traffic, he's got a pretty sizable YouTube account, but I genuinely hope that all the traffic that he's getting off of this is helping him, cover some of those repairs, if not all of them, and have a little bit left over. I'm glad they're both okay. This obviously could have gone very wrong, and I think it's one of the best possible outcomes that he could have had. He could have been perfectly safe and stuck with the $22,000 bill, or something worse could have happened and he could have been injured or killed. And same with his friend, and that's not good. We don't want that to happen. So I'm glad they're both okay. Kudos to Bearded Tesla Guy for being, like I said, straight up honest about what happened. Like, he could have just easily buried these, but he didn't. And I'll say, I haven't watched every second of every video. I've kind of scrubbed through, but he broke them down into like the whole incident, from starting at Dog Beach in San Diego, which is amazing. It's a great beach if you've never been, and all the way to his trip to Tucson. I think there's 6 or 8 videos, but he broke them down into very digestible pieces. Nothing's too terribly long. I think the longest it might be like 16 minutes or something like that. But if you want the complete story, I'll put a link to his page in the show notes because I think he did a good job. So, Bearded Tesla Guy, we salute you. All right, everybody, that is it for me this episode. Now, I did let you know that we're going to have interviews. So on Tuesday, we'll have an interview. Allison Sheridan's going to kick us off. And then I haven't decided what order we're going to put everybody else in, but Allison Sheridan for sure will be kicking us off on Tuesday. If you want to email me, it's Bodie, BODIE at 918digital.com. You can find me on X at 918digital. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, it's Bodie Correct, BODIE. All right, everybody, thanks so much.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
Hey folks, it's Mark Marin from WTF. Today I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back, no questions asked. Boost Mobile offers the coverage, network speed, and service you're used to, but at more affordable prices. Why pay more if you don't have to? You can get an unlimited plan for $25 a month that will never increase in price, ever. No price hikes, no multi-line requirements, no stress. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find them online at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 per month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade 2026. Live across North America. Get tickets now at mychemicalromance.com.